off of the sack, shaking them all, breaking them off, talking my talk, walking my wall like I do. Sit on the throne, get in the zone, turn it on, must be the shoes, must be the team, must be the camp, must be the crew. You need a win, who need a win, that's all we do. I've been a king and I've been about mine, never could doubt mine. They running the route, I leave them outline when I hit them. Step on, spin, move, in zone, scope. Off the sideline, a touchdown, I put on a show. I had to kick off and go. I had to kick off and go. Step on, spin, move, in zone, scope. Off the sideline, a touchdown, I put on a show. I had to kick off and go. I had to kick off and go. Putting it down for that. Time I was down and out. Had to bring grinding back. Doing the drills and working the wheel where you're grinding at. You know what it be. Playing this here for the keeps. Had to make out with a feast. A family to feed. Third cold where the trophy should be. EA got me in the game now. Breathe on with the game now. They're here with a lane now. My home second with a rain now. Legendary on the field. Kind of drip is a skill. This the highest cruiser bill. Ain't nothing to the heel. Step on, spin, move, in zone, scope. Off the sideline, a touchdown, I put on a show. I had to kick off and go. I had to kick off. Step on, spin, move, in zone, scope. Off the sideline, a touchdown, I put on a show. I had to kick off and go. I had to kick off.
Today, from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, this is the National Football League. We'll see Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs taking on Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders.
It is perhaps the best home field advantage in all of football and certainly the loudest as we welcome you inside Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. A few short moments ago, these two teams made their way out of the Arrowhead Stadium tunnels, and the noise level in this place was just about off the charts. They're set for football as the Chiefs get set to do battle with the Las Vegas Raiders. And he'll be tackled just shy of 25.
Houston, and you said, oh, what happened?
Here's the Chiefs offense for their first possession, and it's Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
We know the arm strength is certainly there. He's got a big-time cannon for an arm, and that's not a surprise. He's the son of a former Major League pitcher, so the bloodlines come into play. The biggest question for Patrick Mahomes, can he harness that big arm, develop the touch that's needed, and carry his team towards the playoffs?
On first down, Mahomes. And this one caught by Travis Kelce. And they work this well upfield across the 35. 23 yards on the play. A big hitter to start the drive has him up near midfield here for first and 10. From the gun, it's Mahomes. And he'll be brought down at the 45-yard line. Nice work to get 7 out of that, and it's second down.
And that was not a bad scramble there on first down. He didn't force it, nor did he throw it away. He was able to take off, and now he made it a very manageable second and short.
Now Mahomes' throw complete to his tight end, Kelce. And he'll get it down on the play to the 37. That one a first down pickup of 8. They go play action. Now Mahomes. Complete, the tight end, Kelce. And he'll have it in the red zone before he crosses over out of bounds. It's another first down as they look his way again, this time 19 yards.
I know the past experience. Before you actually play a game, you visualize what's going to happen. And I don't know anyone who doesn't visualize themselves being in the center of what's going on. That's 3 catches for him here in the early going. He's got to like the way this is started.
Absolutely. 3 catches on any drive to the opening drive. That's a tone set. Another nice game. That's now 30 yards between those last 2 plays. And they're going to get to him. A sack. Sack back at the 9-yard line. Max Crosby able to drop him for a loss of a couple. Now from the 9, here's second and goal.
ready to play.
Shotgun snap to Mahomes.
And
he will take it on in for a Chiefs touchdown. Mahomes finding Tyreek Hill. And the Chiefs take it right down and score on the opening drive. Well, that's how they envisioned to get the football to start the game and score.
And I don't know if that was scripted. Was it was it just a play call that they had in their pocket? No matter.
D-Wade and Chris Bosh. Skip, if I'm not mistaken, I think at one point in time they were 9-8 in the first 17 games because D-Wade was like, okay, am I going to take it or you going to take it? Or you going to take it or I'm going to take it? But we still got to get CB his touches too now because we can't leave him, unnoticed. And so it's a lot harder than people think, especially when you get superstars. D-Wade had won Finals MVP. Chris Bosh was a perennial all-star. LeBron James was who he was, two-time MVP, going to the finals. And so, you don't want to step on each other's toes. So it's a lot more, and LeBron understands, it's a lot more difficult than people think. This isn't, one of those video games where you just play, well, I'm going to play with this team and everything's going to be okay. It doesn't work like that in actuality. It takes time to blend a team together. And plus, LeBron's like, I can't worry about what they're doing. They're going to do what they're going to do. I just need to make sure that I'm prepared and my team get better and better every time we step on the court. Because, Skip, with the protocols to where they are now, there's not going to be a whole lot of shoot around. There's not going to be a whole lot of anything. So basically, you're just going to be showing up at the arena and just playing. So I don't really know how much film study. Because, only 10 people in a room at one time now. So the NBA has gotten very strict because of these outbreaks. They postponed a few games. And so it's going to be very interesting to see moving forward. But LeBron should not give it like, oh, they traded on good deal. And just keep it moving. Like he did.
Your demeanor and delivery matched LeBron's in the clip we just saw.
Yeah.
Where you're just dismissing this as it's just another trade. They come, they go. It happens all the time.
Trade, but when you man, I can't believe that. Man, the NBA shouldn't have let James Harden go. So if that's what you wanted in reaction, you're upset because you didn't get the reaction from LeBron that you thought you was gonna get.
I'm not surprised by this at all because he is the shrewdest of operators. Trust me, he had thought long and hard about how to respond after the game to the first media question about the blockbuster trade. And I'm pretty sure he decided, I'm not going to continue to fuel the hysteria that is taking the focus in the national spotlight off the Lakers and LeBron James, because that's what just happened. And you cannot tell me that LeBron didn't spend most of his afternoon, if not all of his afternoon, leading up to warming up before the game, on the phone with Maverick or Rich saying, what you think? What you think? What you think? Going back and forth about, what do you think?
What are the things, Skip?
You don't think they were buzzing about this blockbuster?
Yeah, Skip, it's yeah, work. It's just like everybody was buzzing when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. The NFL world was buzzing. The NBA world was buzzing. It happens when big megastars move teams. This is not you. I mean, you may seem like this is unique. Was the world not buzzing when LeBron went to the Lakers? Was the world not buzzing? The world paused when LeBron James made the decision. So you make it seem like James Harden doing this the first time we've got news like this.
No, okay, you're just telling me that LeBron just shrugged it off, and I promise you, he did not shrug it off.
How would you have him respond?
I don't care how he responds. I was just curious to see how he would, and I thought this was a possibility. I thought he might be a little more generous to them because he likes them and he wants everybody to like him. He wants to be the ambassador for the NBA. I thought he might say it could be a great deal for AD took the right stance. He said, on paper, it looks great. Well, that's fair. Okay, on paper, it does. Now, he said you got to go between the lines and see if it starts to work between the lines.
Right.
Okay, that's a fair way to say it. LeBron could have said, "Oh, it's great for the league."
Guess what? Had LeBron said that, you would have said Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant would have never said that. They would have never been so complimentary. So LeBron James.
Well, Michael never thought of himself as the ambassador for basketball. He aided everybody.
Still, here's the thing.
Doesn't LeBron want to be best friends with everybody he plays?
Whatever. LeBron thinks. LeBron James is the face of the NBA, just like Michael Jordan was the face of the NBA. But my thing is for you. If LeBron James had been complimentary of this, you would have said, this is why LeBron can never be the GOAT. Because Michael Jordan would have never been complimentary. Kobe Bryant would have never been complimentary. Okay, he said, hey, I didn't get caught up into that. I had to get ready to play a game. And now you say, oh, man, he was there all year. Come on.
He wants to be the face of the league, and all of a sudden, he's not the spotlight of the league. Because the focus of this league, the new epicenter of the NBA world, is now in Brooklyn. Not in Manhattan, in Brooklyn. I never thought I would say these words because I grew up with the New Jersey Nets, who were just sort of out of sight and out of mind, and they moved to Brooklyn, and then they ultimately pulled this off.
Well, they were good when they had a doctor.
Well, when they were Navy. Yeah, okay. I got that. But my point is, this is now the total focus of this league going forward is going to be on will this work or will this not work? And they're going to come out here in the middle of February and play a game at Staples, and it will feel like a preview of the NBA Finals.
Well, if they had fans, can you imagine? India. It would almost feel like a finals game with the amount of media credentials and the buzz around it, because everybody would have been on location.
Okay. So, in the biggest picture, LeBron James has the highest IQ in basketball. I think in basketball history, he is already calculating what he's up against. And obviously, injuries can play a part. I'm going to knock on wood. You know, obviously, KD has injury history. Kyrie has injury history. James doesn't have much. But it could factor into this. But if they stay healthy, LeBron has to know he's going to be up against a much bigger challenge if, in fact, he can get through the West to the NBA Finals. Because I'm going to remind everybody, in the bubble last year, he wound up in the Finals against an injury-riddled fifth seed that ultimately, starting with game one, when they obviously lost Dan and Dragic, that had to play high minutes a night, three kids, Duncan Robinson and Hero and Kendrick Nunn. Those three played high minutes every, 25 minutes a night. That's who you got to face in the NBA Finals. Well, what if it's KD, Kyrie, and James Harden?
Well, Skip,
Would that be a little different?
well, here's the thing. Sure, it'd be different. But it's not like somebody just put the Heat there. The Heat had to win 4 rounds.
Okay, they
had to
did.
win 4 games each round.
But weird things kept happening in the bubble. And I think they were a weird thing. They just caught fire, and it felt almost like March Madness.
What was the weird thing that happened to the Clippers and why they weren't there?
Okay, they did not want to be in the bubble. That's as simple as that. And we talked about this at length. The Lakers have all agreed. They just didn't want to be in the bubble. And they were associated with them and fraternizing with them, and they knew they didn't want to be there.
If you don't mind me asking, if the East is so weak, why you praising it now? You remember when LeBron was over there? And you said the East is terrible. It's only the East.
Okay. So what?
The East is terrible. If it was a cakewalk then, why is it so tough now?
Well, because KD went there, Kyrie went there, and now James Harden went there.
Do you notice? All those 2 of those guys that you mentioned were in the West. My guy came West.
Yeah.
They went East.
Okay. You think they're running?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I'll just tell you what my guy did. Because you said my guy was ducking and dodging.
He was chasing Michael B. Jordan to Hollywood. That's what he was doing. And if he could get AD here, he'd have a shot. In the bubble, he got a shot. And I believe it was the luckiest path to a finals you will ever find, ever, because they even dodged the Clippers.
No, they didn't
dodge the Clippers.
Skip. They didn't dodge the Clippers. The Clippers had the same opportunities that the Lakers had. They didn't. superstar, the great players on any team, things don't go well, he has to take the lion's share of the blame. For the simple fact, when things do go well, who gets the lion's share of the credit? Wow. And so I think James Harden bears a lot because he's come up small. The Houston Rockets, everything since James Harden got there, everything that they did was with the thoughts of James Harden in mind. Who are the best pieces that we can put around him to make sure that he succeeds? Everything they did, Skip, whether it was bringing in Dwight Howard, whether it was bringing in Chris Paul, whether it was bringing in Russell Westbrook, Clint Capella, whoever they brought in, the style of play that they played was all conducive to give James Harden the best opportunity to win. And it didn't work out. You know, even though they brought in supporting Eric Gordon, can shoot the three, he's going to start, he comes up the bench. P.J. Tucker, who's the glue, he does it all. P.J. Tucker can't be more than 6'5", but he'll guard from anybody from AD to Jokic to Anthony Davis. He had the hardest job because he had to fight, and by game 4 or 5, he was exhausted, trying to battle Anthony Davis, trying to battle JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard for the entirety of a ball game. So he was exhausted. But Skip, when I look at James Harden and look at what he's done in the playoffs, 2015, they benched him against the Clippers, and the Rockets made a big comeback. Remember, he had 12 turnovers, the most in a playoff game, elimination against the Warriors. He went 2-11 against the Spurs without Kawhi on his home court, lost by 39.
Without Tony Parker.
And without Tony Parker. They lost a 3-2 lead to the Warriors. He went 2 for 13 from 3 in Game 7 and couldn't do anything with the Warriors without Kevin Durant. So James Harden bears a lot of culpability in all of this. Is he the only reason? No. But I got to give him the right share of the blame because them making the playoffs and the numbers that he put up, he got the lion's share of the credit.
We're not going outside.
You must be willing to take the lion's share of the blame when you lose. So he bears a lot of culpability. He's not the sole reason, but he is the biggest reason.
Okay, when it comes to playoff flameouts, big moment flameouts, I will not even begin to try to defend James Harden because he is a flameout waiting to happen. He would be one guy I would trust the least. Not just it's not clutch last shot moments. It's like big game moments where he just disappears right on schedule when you need him the most.
Correct.
I give you that. In clutch situations, clutch games, he is nothing but a complimentary star that needs star power around him to carry him. And conversely, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, I've seen them be very clutch and take over games at the highest level of NBA Finals.
Well, I think the difference is not, Skip. KD did get to the finals with James Harden and Russ. But James Harden was in a situation, he was the de facto leader, the best player on that team. Now, we haven't seen Kyrie do anything close to what the success that he enjoyed when he played alongside LeBron. Now, Kevin Durant, yeah, he won those 2 finals, but you got to realize he had 2 other historically great players playing alongside him in Stephen Clay and Draymond.
He was the MVP.
Yes.
Back-to-back finals, and both turned on the game 3s in LeBron's house in Cleveland, and Kevin just took over both of those games. And it took my breath away.
But Skip, you also now, are you saying the pieces that James Harden had were comparable to the pieces that KD had?
No. So I'm going to give James Harden some break for what happened in Houston during regular seasons because I look at his regular seasons and I say, wait a second. Over the 8 years he was in, it's 8+ years if you count a little bit of this year. Let's just say it's more 8. In the 8 years he was in Houston, he had the 3rd most wins in basketball. In the games he played in, they won the 3rd most games in all of basketball. They averaged 53 wins a year. Well, as you know, that doesn't grow on Houston palm trees either. It doesn't. It's hard to find that.
Right.
53 wins a year. They're going to miss that starting right now.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so let's look at the help that he got. He had Dwight for 3 years. And they started out, they won 54, then they won 56, and the last year it fell completely apart, and they went 41 and 41, but they did make the playoffs. He made the playoffs every year for 8 straight years. And
that might be the longest streak, isn't it?
I don't know. Probably it is.
Yeah, I can't, I guess did KD make the playoffs every year?
Let's see.
Because I know he, obviously made it on Golden State.
But I went through on last year, so, yeah, but the point is...
Well, he was on the Russ, so no, he didn't.
No,
he didn't.
Well, he was on the Russ, right.
Okay.
point is, so first you go Dwight. Well, what had just happened to Dwight? Kobe had rejected him and just basically said, you're done here. Right. What Kobe's doing, he just said, you don't care enough, you don't take basketball seriously enough, you're out there warming up before games, shooting half-court hook shots, and Kobe said, I can't accept that. I can't live with the backtrack on? Yeah, with the backtrack on. Okay? So that's Dwight. You got the best of Dwight last year because he was on his best behavior, and I thought he found his role, he swallowed his pride, and he said, you know what? I'm a backup, and I will come in for JaVale or whoever I'm going to come in for, and I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to go sort of gray area, and I'm going to provide some edge and some physicality for your Lakers last year. That was the best you got of Dwight. He's playing good this year. For the Sixers, it's a good fit. Okay, so, but it didn't work with James, but it's... Can you really trust Dwight? I would. But Skip, you look at Dwight's numbers. Dwight was still putting up phenomenal numbers. He can't. Look at it. Look at that body. Look at the rim protection he can't provide. But it didn't work. It worked. Okay, so then we go to CP3. 2 years of Chris Paul. Right. Okay, what had happened with the Clippers? Well, he, like Griffin, fell completely apart, and the whole organization seemed to be out on Chris, because Chris is hard to get along with. And James tried, and they had that one magical run and got Golden State in a big hole, and Chris pulled his hamstring. Right. But it was working the best he could work. Right. Where has Chris been the best? Well, he was a solo superstar with those younger Pelicans. Remember that? Yeah. He's fine with that because you want to talk about ball dominant. It's just Chris or bust for those early Pelicans. Maybe the Hornets there. Whatever they were. They were the Hornets. But now we fast forward to last year in Oklahoma City. Chris was great because he was the alpha and elder statesman on a young team. Right. Fast forward to Phoenix. He is the alpha and elder statesman on a young team. That will work. Right. But when you try to pair Chris up with a fellow superstar, he's going to clash. He's going to rub you the wrong way. I think the thing that rubbed Chris Paul the wrong way, Skip, when he had the ball, James Harden seems uninterested. He was like just standing in the corner. He was just like biding his time for him to have the ball back in his hand. And he's like, LeBron, when you have the ball, we set screens and we're interested. We're trying to do something, but you seem uninterested. I got that. But they did have Golden State dead to rights in the conference finals, right? Yes, they did. They're like one big win away from going to the NBA finals together. Well, Skip, hold on. If James Harden is that dude, if he's that dude, what you're telling me, okay, he might bring that one home. Okay, but he's not that dude to do that. I told you. He's a complimentary superstar who needs to be with Kevin and Kyrie. What the hell? Skip out the man got 3 scoring titles. He's an MVP. He's in the MVP discussion every single year. He comes out at the highest level. Yes. He needed the most. He has not been there. So in other words, to make a long story short, you won't blame him for this, right? He get the bulk of the blame. Bulk of the blame in Houston? Yes. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is he got thrown into situations with guys who are really hard to play with and get along with because we get to 1 year last year of Russell Westbrook. Right. What did Kevin Durant say about Russell Westbrook? I can't win a championship with him as the primary decision maker on my team because Russell every time brought the ball up the court. It was Russell's choice whether to shoot it, pull up and shoot it, or dish it over on the wing to Kevin saying, I'm open, I'm over here. I just want to ask you this. Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. Yep. Are they in Houston without James Harden's blessing? No, but he said, I'll take them because they're all-star help, right? Yeah. Okay, but can you condemn James for not being able to work with 3 guys who didn't work elsewhere? But hold on. So we're assuming that it's all them. What about James Harden, Skip? It's like, when you get a toy, I'm telling my grandma, I buy a toy, Grant, I want this. And she scrape up money and get it. And then after a day or two, I'm not playing with that toy. She said, boy, if you don't play with that toy, I'm going to take your ass up. You asked for it. James Harden asked for Dwight Howard. He asked for Chris Paul. He asked for Russ and said, if you don't give me Russ, I'm going to request a trade. Okay, and you know what? It worked last year. I thought they were really good together. I was more of a fan of them than you were. They were at 44-28. They won game 1 against the Lakers. It was 112-97. It was pretty impressive. Yeah, but the thing is that I understand you have friends. You have to grow up together. But it's a different animal skill when you with that friend every single day. Every single Russ and James, they good friends because we play each other. Yeah, bro, how you doing? We maybe see each other play pickup basketball, maybe go grab a bite to eat.
But then when you're around that friend every single day and you see those, there's some things that you're like, bro, how we gonna win if you're doing it like this? Okay. How do we get better if you showing up like this? If you're doing this. Like I said, I understand that superstars get preferential treatment. I got no problem with that, Skip. But at some point in time, at what cost or how abusive are you to the privileges that you receive that they become detrimental to the team? Okay. And I think Russell thought that which.
Which one's a probiotics?
Yakult contains a probiotic strain, Lactobacillus casei shirota.
Here's a crust too thick and cheesy not to eat in reverse.
He's like,
Hey, we all remember our favorite homeboy. That was fun because the nigga wouldn't leave us from the house. His name is Michael Rotundo. You remember that?
oh yeah, this is going back.
Yeah.
Well, he finally out of his parents' basement.
And very own shit rag, the New York Post has a look inside his new apartment.
The first thing I thought when my story became national news was, crap.
What?
All the ladies in the audience, I want you to recognize his beard and avoid it at all costs. This man will ruin your life.
I just need enough time. I don't need very
I
much.
mean, you keep saying that, but you've had 8 years.
See, that looked like a television interview, but that's also how his dates go.
I was evicted from my parents' home as a 30-year-old and made international news.
Where you at?
Compton Airbnb.
Oh, no.
That's not a house, bro. That's a temporary, that's a band-aid.
Oh, no, he's not moving out of that. Like, the Airbnb person is like, whoa, Mike, move it. Oh, hell no. First thing you're gonna do is change the locks. Don't trust them. Don't let him in there. What? Michael's been on his own since June 1st and is still unemployed.
Oh, my God.
It's just like, it's just, yeah, they use dishes. So,
You weren't supposed to go to jail.
Yeah.
His life would be so much easier in jail. They give you meals.
Yo,
You got a roommate.
you could have just punched your dad in the face and went to jail. People been good.
since I left my parents' house, I've been looking at it.
Yeah, they don't make me grilled cheeses anymore.
Oh, he's just sleeping at Airbnb. He doesn't know how adult life works. You don't just keep bouncing from Airbnbs. We're gonna try to get an apartment.
You gotta get a grab.
And I'm like, I'm looking for a cheap place to stay for a while. I said, oh, yeah, we'll put on my fencing. It's here for nothing.
That's not how Airbnb works, right?
What?
You can just trade services and goods. I thought you had to like pay money.
Bro, that sounds that's a slippery slope.
Like all these holes for me.
Whoa. All right. Exactly what kind of holes my dick out here. Wow. I'm no farmer, but I know how to plow. All right, Mike.
See?
Little back out with the ponytail flapping.
Yeah, boy.
You're comfortable doing this stuff in exchange to stay here?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's straight asbestos, man.
He now spends his days working on discrimination lawsuits against Best Buy, his former employee.
Best Buy say, stop calling him. You need a lawyer.
He's like, I'm suing, or just give me one Xbox One, please. He has an 8-year-old son.
Damn, nigga drank it.
He had an out-of-weight bloodlock that lived nearby with a former flame. They blur his face, and you know they're gonna blur her face. Just like everything else.
Oh my God, singing better than me? Oh my God.
I get on my bike mostly. My parents stopped feeding me in like December.
His parents stopped feeding him in like December. My parents stopped feeding me like December, like maybe 2000.
My parents stopped feeding me when I was like 8. They were like, yo, go hunt for your own food.
These 2 cups plum tomatoes. I'm gonna ask somebody about that. How many ounces are in a cup?
Why you still got the helmet on, man? G? You off the bike. You're not on the bike anymore.
My better question is, why is this not a bicycle show? I'd watch the shit out of this.
There you go. 11 o'clock. I'm in the fridge.
He's like,
no shout out to my bitch ass mom.
No shout out to Stop and Shop, but apparently you can have 13 items in a 10 or less hour.
I gotta do all my cooking in the bedroom.
Man, you know, I can't go to jail. Just go to jail.
Okay, all right. I guess we don't have spices in Syracuse.
touchdown. Here's Buck to kick it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. The Raiders set to go to work behind their veteran quarterback, and that's Derek Carr.
And one of the things that I think that Derek Carr has really improved in doing since college is his ability to stay in the pocket, things swirling around him, find the right guy, and deliver the